A number of black employees of an asphalt paving systems company in Florida were apparently repeatedly called incredibly graphic racial slurs and also treated as literal second-class citizens at the places they were working. And now the paving company is gonna have to pay them $1.2 million. That's how bad the persistent racism was. So during their employment at Asphalt Paving Systems, the men were allegedly called racial slurs, threatened and intimidated, as well as denied, quote, the use of facilities, tools, and resources on the basis of their race. And it's very clear, so stay tuned for that. But on the slurs, the plaintiffs were called the N-word and boy numerous times by white managers and coworkers. They were forced to work in inclement weather, including heavy rain, while white workers looked on. And they were forced to use the bathroom outdoors while white workers could use indoor facilities. And look, there's a lot of very explicit racism here, but I can't imagine like a more obvious case of racism than one worker gets to use the bathroom and the other has to go into the woods. I mean, I am going to treat one of you like a human and the others are going to be treated like animals. And they were apparently doing this. This is not a random one-off thing. This isn't low-level employees. This is the system that they had. And I want to give you some specific examples of the racism. So these include two white foremen, Anthony Buchholz and Douglas Henry. So Buchholz apparently would use the N-word frequently in front of Broderick Kearney and other employees. Kearney objected to his use of the N-word, but Buchholz continued to use it. After Kearney's objections, Buchholz then came to a job site with a friend and yelled, "I ain't gonna ever run from a black N-word," at Kearney, the worker. So when the black worker who had been repeatedly called the N-word at this point just pointed out like, hey, maybe you could stop using literally the worst racial slur that we have in this country, he then doubled down with a little bit of implied threat of potential violence. So there's more, there's calling him boy and black boy and monkey and black mother effer and all of this. This feels like they were speed running to a racism lawsuit, but maybe they just thought that in America and in particular maybe in Georgia, or sorry, in Florida in this case, that they would be protected. And I kind of understand why they think they'd be able to get away with this, but what do you think, Sharon?
Yeah, in America before MAGA and the whole movement, of course, but now it's given people who are prone to this kind of thing or enjoy this kind of bigotry, racism, the ability to say the quiet part out loud even more. Like, what are you gonna do about it? And in many cases, I mean, they're in Florida. They're not gonna do anything about it. So sure, I can see why they felt protected in their actions and empowered even.
Yeah, empowered to do it, thinking that there would be no consequences. $1.25 million, it's kind of a consequence. One employee, I'm gonna give you a few more details. One employee referred to as Jackie allegedly told black employees, quote, "Black is beautiful, tan is grand, but white is the color of the big boss man." As well as noting that he was, quote, "black from the waist down." So, there's like racism on the job, and then there's just you being the worst, literally the worst person, just having to work near you. You deserve compensation in the millions, I think. They were also accused apparently of preventing the men from finding future employment. They apparently contacted potential employers and asked them not to hire them. So it wasn't enough that they ruined their own workplace. They tried to make sure that they wouldn't be able to work in the future. So due to that environment, all the plaintiffs either resigned or were fired by March of 2022, and 15 plaintiffs are gonna split the money. So it's not a massive individual payday for any of the individuals who dealt with this. Hopefully they're able to find work in their chosen profession, but it is good to see a little bit of consequences. I would love to see a normalization of this. And by the way, we're gonna be talking about Elon Musk a little bit later on. There's accusations of racist work environments at some of those corporations as well. So I don't want to give people like the impression that it's just like contractors in Florida that are having to deal with this. No, it's in Silicon Valley as well. The people working on rockets are also maintaining these sorts of racist work environments. Any final thoughts, Sharon, before we move on?
No, I mean, I just think that's an important point too. We know about some things that have happened at Elon's places, like you said, and it's not just the small company. I think I would have liked the money award to be even higher because, like you said, 15 splitting it. But for a smaller company, that's a great deal of money, and that's a game changer, and just has to happen. Okay, we can't make you stop being ugly like this, but we can show you better than we can tell you why you should stop.
100%. Yeah. Just, I wish we had like a pile of stories like this that we could just reference when someone claims that like America has moved past racism.
Right.
Like when you hear that, it fills you with rage because you know that there are millions of examples of that being ridiculous. But I would like to have a pile of the evidence. Maybe we could work on that. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.